I know how to finish the war in Ukraine. I know. It's quite easy. We stop supporting military Ukraine and the war will finish in a couple of weeks.
This is kind of a weird thing for an EU bureaucrat to be saying. It's awfully, truthy smelling. Where's this going?
Does it matter? Or doesn't matter? If it matters, then we cannot stop supporting military Ukraine. Because we don't want the peace, which is the peace of the cemeteries, the peace of the surrender, the peace that makes Ukraine a second Belarus.
We don't want a Ukraine that's a second Belarus. Now it all makes sense.
So the question is not to finish the war, but how do we finish the war? And that's why we continue supporting Ukraine, although we want peace as much as anyone else in this room.
And so, friends, look at that Overton window shift. We have someone who's responsible for security and foreign relations and all that within the EU, basically saying that the EU is engaged in some sort of real politic here, some sort of a zero-sum game, Cold War style, where essentially the current mission, at least the way he's seeing it as of today, is that the EU has to continue to support Ukraine, or else it essentially becomes lost to the Russians. This is very much like if you go back to the whole idea of like containment with Vietnam and Korea. Well, if we don't take it, then the communists will take it. And that extremely Cold War logic is so hilarious to hear coming from these nuts EU officials who have been claiming the exact opposite year after year after year. And now when we sort of take this, let's just say view, or I would even say admission, and we put it on top of the fact that Merkel and I believe Macron admitted that the entire purpose of the whole Minsk II agreements was just to buy time for the Ukrainians to build up their forces and attack. Well, now we really see what's happening. We really see that this is an old school sort of 1800s, well, not 1800s, 20th century kind of war, just to keep things away from Russia, to essentially keep the Russians weak. And we've heard from numerous American politicians that have even said that, one of the missions of this, including, he's not, I guess it wouldn't be really a politician, but the Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin even saying that one of the purposes of this whole endeavor is to weaken Russia. So, again, we're seeing that this has nothing to do with democracy. It has nothing to do with some kind of freedom or whatever. They've marched back so far from that. And in fact, strangely, it seems like the West, in terms of this war, is marching closer to the truth of the situation rather than farther from it as time goes on. So, this is actually a very big admission. And it's yet another sort of brick in the wall of the reality of what's actually happening in this conflict. He admits that the whole reason they need to continue to support Ukraine is because if they don't support Ukraine, it becomes like Belarus, which has essentially been more or less integrated back into Russia. It's just that simple. Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable.